I am Karen Marks and I am a ceramic artist. I started doing ceramics around about just over 10 years ago. I worked in an office and I loved my job, it was busy, and in between changing from one job to another I went on a day course with a friend and had never touched clay before, so hadn't done it at school. And within the first hour I was thinking, I love this, it's amazing. And at lunchtime my friend said, I'm going to go home, I don't like it. And I said, no, don't. It was great. I've tried lots of different clays. I work with porcelain. I love the feeling of it. I know some people don't like it and say it's a temperamental medium to work with, and it can be, but when I'm working with it, it's just amazing. I throw my work, so when I'm on the wheel throwing and I'm working on it, it's the most wonderful feeling. And then I make the work that I make, and it also, even in the finished process, ceramics is tactile. You see a nice piece of pottery, a nice sculpture, you want to touch it, you want to put your hands over it, you just want to, touch it, pick it up, drink from it. So it's a medium that we use every day in our daily lives, and I think it's just nice to be able to go through that whole process from start to finish. My inspiration comes from the coast. I have always lived and worked in London and I love it. I like the comfort, I like the convenience, but holidays have always been by the coast. So when I was younger we used to go to the west coast of Ireland. And it was, in my memory, it was always, the beaches were beautiful, but it was always quite a wild, stormy sea. It wasn't the turquoise, Caribbean, but it's beautiful. I think being by the coast, you have a chance to empty your thoughts, let your mind wander and just relax a little bit. When I started making the work, I knew I wanted to be inspired by the coast. It took quite a few years to realise that I didn't want to be representational, so I don't want to paint waves and actually make that shape. But I just wanted to get a sense of the feeling of looking out at somewhere. So in my mind, I can picture many coasts and the shores and the water and the lines coming up, and it's that repetitive waves and the sounds coming up that sort of, they envelop you. And your mind is full of, actually it's just that noise, and it's almost meditative and it's very rhythmic. And there's no particular one coast. I think if you go anywhere in any coastline, you always have that water coming up on the shore, coming up on the rocks, coming up on the sand, and there's just that whole process of it comes in and it goes out again, and it's just such a relaxing time, a relaxing process. And what I wanted to do is just capture some of those lines and some of that movement. And it took a while to realise that actually hand building it didn't work for me, so my work is all thrown, and it really captures some of that rhythm and it captures a lot of movement in it. I do that deliberately, and I work on my work while it's really wet to try and capture some of that energy and some of that movement. When my pieces come out of the kiln, they're bisque fired, so they've had their first firing, but I can't actually see all the colour. When it's wet, I've got more of a chance of seeing where some of the colour is, so you can see there. So I do polish them when they come out for two reasons. One is there are sometimes an area where I know there's some colour about to come through, or I hope there is, and I'll polish it a little bit with a dye pad just to get rid of a tiny little bit of the surface and make some of that colour come through. So you can see some of the colour is coming out as I'm polishing it. Every now and then, what I thought was colour underneath might be colour on the surface, so I polish it away. But also, with the ceramics, and as this is porcelain, once it's polished, it feels beautiful, it feels really nice. So I like the fact that actually if you're going to touch it anywhere, I want it all to feel nice and smooth and nice and tactile. So finishing it off really makes it part of the process. It can take quite a while. I never know until it comes out of the kiln really how it's going to look, because I can't see the colours. So when I'm doing the polishing as well, it gives me an opportunity to just see, okay, where is all the colour? So here, I can see, well actually I think there's a lot more colour up here than I could see when it was just biscuit fired. So as I polish it, I'll just be able to see some of those colours coming out. thing I like about porcelain is when you're working with porcelain, it's so soft, it's so silky, and it's just so, if you work it too much, it just collapses on you. Like water is so soft, and so you can put your hand under a running tap of water and that's lovely. But the power of water is awesome and it's immense. And when the porcelain goes through the whole process and it's fired, it's a really hard medium, it's a really solid static thing, and I think there's just that comparison between its initial softness and then the end result, which can be quite dramatic and quite fierce and quite powerful. But I like the fact that with the porcelain I have that white background and the colours that I put in to try and create my work really sharp against that background. The work that I have here is some of the work where I've added colour to it. I add colour to white porcelain, so different colours. So here I've been working with different shades of black. In my mind, I always picture looking at a horizon and the coast always goes up and out that way. And this, to me, mimics that. And I'm looking down and I can see just the lines here and I can see waves and clouds and headlands in the distance. And it seems to follow that. So I like the idea that actually every time you look at a piece, it has a slightly different appearance, and depending where I position a piece in the room or the light that's coming through, oh, I just spotted that piece there, and actually that reminds me of when the mists were coming in over the headlands there, so that is really nice. Once I get on the wheel and I'm working, although I'm starting with a rough, this is going to be a dramatic piece, and that determines the size of the piece that I've chosen. It then does depend on the day. If it's a day where it's nice and calm and it's nice and gentle, I might choose to do a gentle piece. If it's a day where I know I'm doing drama today, and I know I'm going to gear myself up for it, so I just need to make sure, okay, this is what I'm going for, and choose the sizes. But it even comes down to, so with something like this, I know I was aiming for drama, and I picked a piece that had more colour in it and more black, and because of that I was going for far more drama when I was changing the edges of it to really make it come up, so that when you look at the whole piece it all fits together, and there's much more energy in that piece than in some of the pieces that I've done. But they never actually come out quite how I can't plan it. I've made a piece and somebody said, can you do me another one like that? No, I can't. They're all unique, they're all totally different. But the clay is all mixed together. So I don't know if you can see, these are bits of clay inside. So I know there's dark clay in there. It's just still inside. And sometimes I'll have a piece and it's white on one side, which to me is always amazing on the balance. I know I've put lots of coloured clay in there, it doesn't come through. I would like to get slightly bigger and just incorporate a bit of drama into it. And I'll see what develops, because I think over the last 5 years, probably 5 years ago, I wouldn't necessarily have envisaged how these are turning out, but I really like these. These are working really well. So what I would like to do is carry on doing these and seeing how they go together. I've got an exhibition coming up in March in 2020. And I'm very lucky that a sound engineer is putting some sounds together for that with me. So Oliver is producing wave sounds, which will go with the whole exhibition. So ideally when people come in, I want them to walk in and think, it's just nice. You have that whole sound, and then you have this hopefully sea of images of ceramics coming towards you that will make people just stop for a minute and again relax, take time out in just a busy life.